Welcome to Agent Power Huddle. We have a special treat today. We have someone who has a name that I actually know what it is, but I'm only going to refer to her as Miss Oceanside because she literally is Miss Oceanside. I'm going to say your name one time, Melissa. Is that correct? You are Miss Oceanside, correct?
Yes, I am.
And for those, but I happen to be, from about 10 minutes from where you live. For those people that are not in San Diego, tell everybody where is Oceanside and how did you become Miss Oceanside? Let's start with that.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me here today. I really appreciate it. So Oceanside is probably about a 25 minute north of downtown San Diego in the heart of, well, Oceanside, but it is off the five. It is a coastal town. It's got a nice vibe going on there. So, and okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to ask you, like, have you have you always been Miss Oceanside? Like, because I've known. By the way, those of you just tuning in for the first time, like maybe you know Miss Oceanside, or if you listen to the podcast all the time, I've actually seen Melissa's name in real estate for years, but she was never Miss Oceanside up until one day she became Miss Oceanside. So we're going to talk hyper local, but like, how did you become Miss Oceanside?
So it's really kind of interesting. I joined a very exclusive group of people, the DLE, which is the designated local expert. When I started real estate 30 years ago, I actually started my business in Oceanside, Vista, San Marcos, and Escondido, back in the day. And of course, I didn't know any better. I just, started in an area that I started selling in, and it's turned the corner in such a really big way that if I can just get 1% of the market share, I'd be really, really happy. So I met up with a guy named Anthony Grenshaw with the DLE, and he and I quickly became like best friends. He's just like my little big brother, if you will. I could be his mom, but anyway, he's like a brother to me. So he's one of my best friends, and I absolutely adore Anthony. He has really brought me quite a ways with this DLE. So basically, I made the decision. I was trying to contemplate doing Miss San Diego, but I thought that was a little bit too ambiguous. So I kind of narrowed it down a little bit and thought, okay, well, what about Miss Carlsbad? And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to shoot for Miss Oceanside, Ms. Oceanside, because there was something about just the name itself that was, I don't know, it just sounded rich and um, vibrant. And so I don't know.
I love it. And I mean, did you have a hyper local farm anywhere prior to being Miss Oceanside? No.
No,
Okay,
you don't.
you were never like, because by the way, hyper local, I truly believe is like it's so powerful. Okay, so you, and even Oceanside is still fairly large, but in terms of relative to San Diego, I mean, Oceanside's a much smaller niche. I mean, you're definitely drilled down here. Uh,
Yes.
how long ago is that you said, okay, you know what, I'm going to be a hyper local farmer?
So it's been 2 years since I started, the hyperlocal farming, and it literally has changed my dynamics. And it's even gotten to the point now where I have the mayor tagging me in his posts, and other places like, businesses and famous people and stuff like that are starting to tag me in their posts, which is great. I drive around in a car that says Miss Oceanside selling San Diego, which is super cool because I do a lot of work on Nextdoor, and I post a lot. 99% of what I post is like facts about San Diego and did you know? So I have a system now where I've created a did you know about this in Carlsbad or this in Oceanside. And it's really, you get some Karens on there, and every once in a while, and I love them. I love that because I feel like, I'm hitting a chord with somebody that doesn't want me to, to be out there and to do the very best that I can be. But one of the things that I've learned since I joined the DLE is literally I am super hyper focused on creating a brand that stands out in the community, not just because of Miss Oceanside, but because of who Miss Oceanside is. There's a lot there. I'm not just your standard real estate agent. I'm not.
I all right. There's so much I want to unpack. I'm like, how are we going to get through all this in 20 minutes? So let me just ask the question that most agents, probably listening, the first thing they're asking if they've never heard of, if they've heard of hyperlocal farming, but heard of what you're doing. You said it transformed your business over the last 2 years. Tell me what it's done. How has it been impactful? Then what kind of dive doing in the community?
Yeah. Oh my God. So I rank number one on Google now without having to pay super extraordinary costs, high costs, because I'm very focused with my content, my wording, my photos, and there's just a lot that we're doing with the DLE that really ranks me really high, and I like that because I probably get about maybe 7 calls a week, even if it's just for an appraisal. Or the last 3 listings that I sold were all from Google Business Page. And the Google Business Page has certainly been a huge drive in my business for sure.
Should you literally get like come list me phone calls?
I do.
Well, I'm just going to show this on the screen here. Check this out. So what she's talking about. So I just typed in Oceanside real estate agent. You've got these at the top that are sponsored. This is the Google local service ads, which even though I know a lot of consumers scroll past it, this actually is a pretty good strategy. Like I know other agents that are getting a lot of good inbound phone calls from this, but they're paying a lot of they pay for it.
They're paying a lot of money.
Right. This is you right here. This is effectively free. I mean, you've done work to get here, but you don't pay for this, and you're like right here.
Yes.
This is rad.
Yes. I have found almost 270 Google reviews. And what I've done is I've gone back probably 10 or 15 years, trying to encourage people that I've done business with, that I've sent business to help me grow my Google business page. So whether that is your title rep, your landscaper, your stagers, whatever the case is, I just go out and I get as many Google reviews as I can that are positive and informative. And, of course, everybody says I pay for those, and I actually do not pay for those. Something else that I do in my business that really sets me apart, because, they always say to have extra streams of income. And I became really passionate probably about 10 years ago about renovation and remodel. And to date, I've probably covered about maybe 200, 250 plus homes that I renovate personally. So that is another side job that I have that I absolutely love. And we completed one in La Jolla that was 3 stories, and I gutted it from top to bottom and completely designed the entire layout of the house and, all of the products. So that's taken me to a whole different level as well.
Wow. All right. I'm just making notes. I'm going to come back to if we have time now. If not, I'll ask you later about multiple streams of income because I love that. All right. Do you do any normally when I think about farming, I think of postcards and things like that. Like, do you do any of the old school type farming stuff, or is it strictly like the digital and like the interacting with the community?
Sometimes I do digital, especially if I'm doing things in the community like garage sales or Easter egg hunts and things like that. But I also drive around in the community with my car. So I park my car and it's so funny because I went to a community garage sale in Arrowwood, which is a huge area that I farm now. And I pull up and I'm driving the streets, and it has created the most beautiful relationships it's so funny because people are like, "Hi, Miss Oceanside. Hi, Miss Oceanside." You should see the little kids, they're waving. You know what? That brings so much smile. I mean, so much to my heart that, you hear that over and over again, and then that sits and resonates in people's minds. So I had a little boy actually see my car parked at a house last week when I brought a client over to do her final verification of property condition. And the little boys come out on their bike and they're like, "Oh my God, Miss Oceanside."
You're like a celebrity. You're like a celebrity.
Yes, but it was cute because he said, "Are you the mayor?"
I'm looking on your face. I'm trying to find because like I'm looking at your Facebook. I'm trying to find a picture of your car. I don't know if it's on your website or something because I've seen your car in real life driving around, which like that's is how I can attest to the fact that it's incredible branding. Like it is just wrapped. It says Miss Oceanside. Is there a
Yep.
picture somewhere online? I'm looking for it.
There is actually. I even there is, especially on my it's on my Instagram page. If you go down, you'll see that I do have a lot of pictures of the car that is wrapped. And so here's another thing that's really interesting and why I think hyperlocal farming is so extremely important is because I'm on Nextdoor right now for my business page, and somebody wrote on there, I really like her informative messages. They're positive. They're, done in truth and authenticity. And it's so, rewarding to see that more and more on this page. And I would do business with her any day of the week. And the guy says, well, it's hard to miss her because I see her all over Oceanside in her car. I love it.
I so love it, and I just got to ask, how did the mayor end up tagging you? Like, are you getting involved with like events in the city? Like, how did the mayor?
No, I don't know. I don't know. He just started tagging me. In, you know how like when they put the names on some of their posts? Well, there was an event, there were some things that were going on in Oceanside. And, of course, when you're tagged, it comes up on your page and everything else. And I looked and I'm like, oh my God, that's like the mayor of Oceanside, you know? So I was like, wow.
That's so.
I've gotten, opportunities left and right. The community asked if I would be willing to sponsor a writing contest for 11th and 12th graders for the Oceanside area and Carlsbad, that corridor of highway. And we ended up having, I don't know, 36 people or 36 kids compete. And I sponsored that for a scholarship and, which is on my Instagram page as well. And that in and of itself has really brought me, I had a lot of really exciting phone calls from people saying, you're making a difference in our community. And I just wanted to say thank you. And it's like, those are things that you want to hear, that you really are genuinely making a difference in the community.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
just gonna say, Melissa, that to me is kind of the theme that I'm hearing underneath all of this.
Yes.
It's not just about selling homes and it's not just about making money. There's lots of ways we can make money.
Yes.
You truly are becoming a part and making a difference in that community, which has to resonate that like I can hear it in your voice. Like it has to resonate at that level. That's not just your standard realtor.
Yeah, it's not about the numbers, and that's one of the things I know for a lot of people, chasing numbers is great. But for me, it's really not. It's about changing lives and it's about being community. When you talk about being a real estate agent, there's so many things that we can do. And I'm starting to sponsor a lot of things that have to do with the community, not because I want to be recognized for that. I just want to help. Like, I want to make a difference. I want to make Oceanside a great place for people to live. I really do.
And I think even though it's not conscious, that's got to come back and help on the business side, even though, because you're doing it for the right reason. You're doing it because you truly want to make a difference in this community, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
I love it. All right. Um,
Yeah.
uh, Debbie, I know we have some. If you have any, Debbie said before you got on, she's just thinking about launching a farm. So if you have any specific questions, Debbie, about you're 2 years into this journey now, Melissa, feel free. You're welcome to ask a question, Debbie. Otherwise, I got more questions for Melissa here.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. It came right on time for me. I'm attempting to pursue a townhome community. So I'm dealing with an
Mhm.
HOA, it's gated, and I'm on a limited budget.
Mhm.
I can't necessarily door hang or door knock because of HOA rules.
Mhm.
I did, however, and the community is only like 3 years old, and I did sell one of the townhomes to a young man who is considering moving. So I do have experience in that market. It is not dominated by anybody. I've pulled up sales in the last year, and it's all different people on both buy and sell side. Nobody's duplicated. And so it's not dominated by anybody. It's a new development. Basically, it's only 2 or 3 years old. How would you go about that? And is there something like, I do have my Google business profile set up. How do I get started in this?
So that's a really good question. And Debbie, I'll tell you, for those agents, because in this business, there's so many things going on out there that people trying to, I mean, I get probably 50 calls a day, spam calls, you know, trying to do this. You can milk yourself into bankruptcy if you know, put out, I say find a niche. If you really want to focus on a specific community or area that you really want to try to dominate, you've got to be able to stand out. And how do you do that? So number one, what I would do is I would create a community page for that subdivision. Okay, I would get a photo of whether it's you in front of it or a picture of the sign that says like Arrowwood or, you know, Coastal Country Club or whatever the case is. I would get the name of that. I would become the admin and I would start a community page, you know, and welcome people to that. Even if you have to get a paid sponsorship for specific areas of where you live for just you can go up $5 a day, you know, it's not a huge deal. So like I said, become that mayor or become that person that is, you know, geared towards everybody in the community. One of the other things that I would suggest doing that's really fun that I did, and it really, really went well, that is create breakfast bags. Okay. You can get your title reps to help you. You can get your, you know, your insurance companies, you know, all the people that are in your network together and make breakfast bags, like a banana or an apple and a protein bar, maybe an orange juice or a milk or a water bottle, whatever it is, and put some swag in there. And then just have it, you know, put it in a brown paper bag and make like little cute notes on the front saying from Miss So-and-so, kind of a thing. Those went over really, really well. And what you do is you go out very early in the morning because kids have to be to school by 7:15, and you hand bags out to, you know, to those people. So it didn't cost me anything to do, and it really helped me to grow my business that way.
I love all of those tips, Melissa. I got a question on Debbie's behalf and everyone else who, most of the times I hear people talking about farms, by the way, and truly what you just said about building community and being the person who's inviting and collaborative, like I can hear that theme through everything you do. Most of the times I hear people talk about farms, they talk about a farm of 500 houses, 1,000 houses. Your farm, Miss Oceanside, is, I just looked it up, per whatever census data this is, 63,683 households. I'm sure you know the number better than me. So do you think these days, does it make more sense for someone like Debbie to target, like, I don't know how many households are in that townhome subdivision, Debbie, 500?
No, like 178.
178. Does it make sense to target like 178 versus, like, you still have a fairly hyper-local farm, but it's not hyper-local into like hundreds of homes, but you really branded yourself within this community of 60,000. But what's your take on that, Melissa?
So first of all, it's like an elephant. You have to take one bite at a time. If you try to take and eat the whole elephant, it's going to crush you, right? So for me, I would start small, and I would, how do I say it? I just personally, now having 3 decades of experience, I would not try to take it all in. Okay. I would just take little chunks, little bits, little pieces, because when you start to become the community yourself, like the mayor, quote unquote, of your town, people start word of mouth, and it goes from person to person to person. And then your name starts to get out there. Right. And then people start seeing your authenticity, and they get to see who you are as a human being, and that you're not just always about real estate, that you're about that community. community in itself. So I would start small. So 150 to 200 homes is perfect. I would stick with that.
I love it. I love it. Love it. And I did find, thank you, Gianna, my team who just found the picture of there's your car. There's Miss Oceanside.
Hi. Yeah, it's funny because I just went into Facebook to see if anybody else had a Facebook group with that community name, and I found a video I did when I showed the property of the model. So it's a video of me walking through one of the models that I can repurpose. And then I've got a photo of me at one of the in the front doorway with the red carpet laid out, because it's Lennar. They lay out a red carpet for the
perfect
homeowner. And I'm standing in the doorway like this or something like that. Some goofy like welcome pose.
Oh, that's awesome.
I already have some.
Okay.
So I'm encouraged to start something here.
Yes, you are. So I definitely would start that community page, and, name it that development. And then you can also start, I just start with that one thing first, and perfect that, and invite people to collaborate with you as well. Because when you invite other people, especially business owners that live in that immediate area, hey, I'd love you to join our Facebook group for this community because, there might be somebody that could use your services, that type of stuff. And then just find things that you can, like you were talking about, repurpose and put it into there that talks about that community, upcoming events, sponsor a garage sale, once a year, be that person that everybody knows for that particular community.
Perfect.
I love it. All right, we got like 5 minutes left. I want to ask you about one thing, Melissa, because you mentioned this, and I know it doesn't exactly tie in, but it's pretty darn cool. You told me that you are now a pepper there, right?
Yes.
So it does tie in because it ties in because everything you're talking about in terms of empowering people and collecting in the community. Like, so this book, how did you become an author? Tell me how this ties into your whole vision and what you've done.
Oh my gosh, I have a story, like everybody has a story, right? And I wanted to tell my story. And I, was able to get and round up over 22 other women that wanted to tell their story. And we hired a book author, and we put the book together, and it took us probably about 1.5 years to put everything together and perfect it and get it out to a publisher, things like that. And before too long, it actually became a big seller in multiple countries in different languages. So we put it not just in the US, but it's all over the country. Australia, it hit the bestsellers list. California was one of the bestseller lists. And it just keeps growing. And I get private messages all the time. Can I get the link to your book? Can I get the link to the book? They're just inspiring stories about women that have gone from difficulties and how they overcame that. And so for me, this is not an easy business, as you know, right? And we have our haters and we have our, people, and I just have to try to love every single one of them, no matter what, right? But my story is I want to empower people, whether it's if I can change one person and I can change their direction and give them hope. I know that this book will help them do that because it takes them from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. Because if I can come from where I've come from, okay, I had an alcoholic mom and she was not the best. But I took that opportunity and made a lot of mistakes in my life, as a single mom and so on and so forth. And I was able to turn my life around and start developing things because I made a decision. You have to make a decision because if you come at life like you're a victim, constantly complaining, you are going to find nothing but chaos and, confrontation and pain and stuff like that. And God did not have us here to live that kind of life. He wanted us to be purposeful. He wanted us to have abundance in life. And so if you can go at it from that mindset, sky is the limit, because God is so in my heart in everything that I do that money is not the first priority. It's people. That's where the priority lies for me. And so that's why I am where I am.
I love it, Melissa. That's super inspiring. And say the name of the book so people want to find it. What's the book?
It's Inspire Her. Yes, and they can go on to Amazon and they can purchase it. The link is actually on my Facebook page, and it's also on my Instagram. There is a link there that'll take you right to the book.
Cool. We'll drop it in with the show notes for the podcast when we post this everywhere. And I know it's so funny because it doesn't directly tie into hyperlocal farming, but the same reasons I think that drew you to create that book is the same reasons you're having success in your farm. It's all about people. I mean, that's the thing. The thing I've heard loud and clear over and over again. It's not the specific technique. It's not the wrapped car, although the car is really cool. It's all of it together, and it's the fact that you're putting people first. Would you agree with that?
I would 100% agree with that. If you lead with keep in mind that people are first instead of, business and money, things will start coming to you because people start to see that you genuinely care about who they are and about the community. So I don't look at it like, where's my next deal coming from? Because I know that when I keep continuing to be who I am and show up authentic, people just follow and they find me. I was on the back of a bus until recently in Oceanside. I went from La Jolla all the way up to the very, very end of Oceanside, and I got 2 listings from that. But the buses did away with all the advertisement. But what that did is it got my name out there into the community because people were stuck behind me. Without the bus, did you do that too?
My office is right by the coaster station in Encinitas, and there's a bus stop right there. Like one of the main bus stops. So like literally, I would say every other morning or so, I would see your face. Like, and it's 10 minutes from your community, right? Maybe 10 minutes. But that's why I was so excited to interview you today. I was like, I feel like I know you, even though I never actually talked to you.
Yes, I know. I just, I get it.
All right. Well, let's do this. I'm going to reach out to you offline. I would love to grab a cup of coffee in real life sometime, if you're okay with that.
100%. Absolutely.
Debbie, do you have any more questions before we wrap up here?
I think that's about it. I did find that somebody else does have a Facebook group. Because I was just looking at people and I looked in groups because I was going to create the group. And there is one other agent that's his own broker. He's got like him and 2 other agents in his office. And they have a Facebook group and they have 104 members out of 178 residents. So
is it active though? Is it new? Is it current?
It is active. It's about a year. It was created in October of 2024. So not quite a year old. And it's private. So.
Yeah, they won't let you in.
All right. So Melissa, if you have 2 minutes, do you have 2 more minutes?
Yes.
Sure. What would you do if you were Debbie now? What would you do for her?
So I would say create another one. Create it with a different type of name. Like I have a guide that dominates Arrowwood, but that's not going to stop me because I know that not everybody's going to like that one person. There's different vibes for different people. And like I said, if you really only get about 1%, that's still really good. Become a sponsor, do things, create something within that, call the HOA. Now, the other thing that sometimes makes it difficult, if the agent actually lives in the community, that could be a challenge, but I don't let that stop me because they don't own the community. So you have to remember that it's okay for you to have another Facebook page. Maybe you talk about, the golf course there. Maybe you talk about, creating, you can call me and I can create some different Facebook groups names for you. If you want to give me the community name, I can help you. It doesn't mean you can't start one.
Yeah, I was gonna, because his is the name of the community and then townhome neighbors. So let's say this is where I used to live, Serafina Townhome Neighbors. Well, I was thinking of doing Serafina Living.
There you go.
And then that way it's more about not just in the community, because I don't want it to be like, oh, I lost my cat. I don't want it to be like one of those kind of groups, because I'm so tired of anyway. This is recorded, so I'll refrain. But like all the, I don't want it to be the kind of little stuff that doesn't really, it matters to some people.
Right.
But I want it to be more community focused, and there is great shopping there. There's a huge lot right across the street that I'm already thinking, let me find out from the city what's going in that area, because a lot of the townhomes face that empty lot. And so there's going to be construction coming. There's going to be, and how far out is it? And do they want to move before the construction? You know what I mean? Like thinking of all of those kind of things.
Yes, but you also might want to think about, if there are things coming, call the city, go to the city, take notes of things that are happening in the community, be a resource, because people love resources. If somebody's just constantly pushing about real estate and talking about real estate, you're going to lose people, because everybody's mother, father, brother, aunt, uncle, cousin, sister, baby brother, baby sister, cat, dog, and parakeet are all licensed real estate agents, right? What makes you different? So for me, it's all about resources. So be the resource for that community and you'll change the dynamics. Trust me.
I also, the same gentleman who purchased in there, he decided that he now wants a home with a yard because of his pets. And so that's going to be one of my angles to get in with some of the people, is there's no yard. I mean, it's a townhome. So he's going to be listing to sell pretty soon. So I want to have this group done, created before, and a few posts and some content before he decides to actually list, which may be a month or two from now. So maybe get on it.
Yeah, that's, there's your in right there. And then what I would also do is maybe just send out a postcard or go knocking on the neighbors' doors and introduce yourself and say, I know I'm not soliciting, but I wanted to let you know that your neighbor's house I just listed, I helped him purchase, and see if maybe you know any family, friends, or neighbors that would be interested in moving into our beautiful community. So when you go and you start doing that, you're setting yourself apart from the other people.
Melissa, this is so good. I love it. All right, any last tips or anything you want to say to pull it all together before we wrap it up?
I absolutely want to say, if you're in the business and you're contemplating getting out because things are so down, weather the storm, okay? Weather the storm. Sometimes multiple streams of income are not a bad option for a while to help you rebuild. But if you can build a name for yourself in this business, the name of the game is consistency and follow up. You've got to be consistent, because if you're just dabbing in the business and you're doing things every once in a great while, that's why your business is not doing very well. I live and breathe this business on a daily basis. I really do.
And it shows, Melissa. This is so good. Well, thank you for being here.
100%.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.